It was covered for thousands of years, discovered while they were building, excavating this hotel, and make this amazing discovery about this synagogue. I'm just going to give you a lot more information about what they discovered, some of the things here. What I want to talk to you about quickly right now is the Gospels tell us that Jesus went to all the surrounding cities and villages and he preached the good news of the kingdom of heaven, correct? We know he was in Capernaum. We know he went to Chorazin. We know he went to Bethsaida. And we also know that more than likely he came here. Why? There's a famous biblical character who we know, and we know that she's name is connected to this place. Yes. Miriam from Magdala. Yeshua healed Miriam from Magdala. And as we can see, that this would be another location then without much doubt that Yeshua, if we understand his custom, on the Shabbat, on the day that the Jewish community would gather in their synagogues to read Torah, to understand scripture, to talk about the complications and the interpretation of what God was doing, they would come here and gather, which means more than likely Yeshua would come here in this space and teach the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. So another location that we can look at and say Yeshua was more than likely here based on the evidence we have from the biblical narrative. This is the first century synagogue. And so I want to ask you the question, why did the religious leaders of Yeshua's time hate him so much? Why? Why were they so opposed to him, his messaging, and who he was presenting himself to be? Power. Influence. Right? Status. If you're the rabbi of this synagogue and your community, and when we look around at this vast community that was here, you would be the person who had authority to decide every part of Jewish life. And it's the same as it is today. The rabbis of the day today, the Jewish people are no different from today to 2,000 years ago when they're religious. They have a rabbi, they follow their rabbi has authority, their rabbi says do something, they do it. Their rabbi questions how they're living their life, they'll try and change it. And they associate themselves with the rabbis. So you've got to think that all these rabbis in all these locations have power and influence. The Pharisees, the religious leaders. We are the ones who determine how your life operates, how it should look. You come to us when you have a problem. You come to us when you have to deal with your sin. We have authority. And then all of a sudden, a rabbi from Nazareth will come. And what do people say? You speak with one with authority. Not like the scribes or Pharisees that were here. And so just imagine, one day, the rumor begins. Yeshua from Nazareth is coming to Magdala today to speak in our synagogue. And the crowds would come. And they'd come from all the regions of Tyre, Sidon, around the Galilee, they would come from Capernaum. They would come from the other side. And they would all come here and listen to Yeshua speak. And you could only imagine the religious leaders going, he's taking away my people. He's taking away my influence. Matthew 23 aligns perfectly with Jeremiah 23. Woe to you, Pharisees. Right? In Jeremiah 23, there's woes to the corruption of the Jewish leadership. You have scattered my sheep. You fed yourself and you haven't actually cared and tended for my sheep. And so God says, I'm coming. There's two pieces of scripture that you need to go home and read tonight. Jeremiah 23, Ezekiel 34, and then what Yeshua says in Matthew 23, and they all align together. And ultimately what God is saying is, you haven't done it, so I am going to come and do it myself.
Say one more time, Jeremiah 23.
Jeremiah 23, Ezekiel 34, and Matthew 23. This is how we understand the scriptures, that for God knew that the religious leaders were going to be corrupt, selfish, power hungry, and opposed to the messaging of the Messiah. Now here's the amazing thing. The same problem would happen today. If someone came along and claimed to be the Messiah today, guess what would happen? He would go to the Prime Minister's office, who was Benjamin Netanyahu, and say, okay, it's over. I'm the Messiah. I'm the true king. I'll take over from here. And we know what men are like. They wouldn't want to give up their power, right? And so rejection was inevitable from a leadership that only believed that they were put in that place to have their power and control. And so think about the crowds that would come and gather, seeking him out. Now, if I'm opposed to Yeshua and his message, what would I say to the people so they wouldn't like him? He casts out demons with Satan. Don't follow him. Don't believe him. Believe me. He breaks the law. I saw him heal someone on the Sabbath. Unbelievable. Can you believe that? He healed someone on the Sabbath? Yeah, one time I was in a discussion with a Jewish girl. We were debating. And she said, we don't accept Yeshua. He broke the Sabbath. How did he break it? He healed someone on the Sabbath. My first obvious question, do you believe he healed on the Sabbath? So you believe he had the power to heal, and you believe that he broke the Sabbath. But does the Torah not say if your donkey falls into a hole, or if your animal falls into a hole, that you would get it out, right? That saving life is actually something that you will be allowed to break the Sabbath with. And in fact, Israel today says if we have to save someone's life, we're allowed to break the Sabbath. We're allowed to work. We're allowed to turn on our phone if we have to, for an emergency where if it involves life. So Yeshua, every single miracle that he performed on the Sabbath was a healing miracle, a miracle that saved someone's life. Right? I have a theory that Magdala is the place where Jairus' daughter was sick and where Jesus would come and heal her, because it said that he was the head of a very, very important synagogue, right? And this synagogue, by what we've discovered, is like, wow, it's impressive. It was colorful. You can see on this, see that walkway just here? You can see the colors. You can see the architecture. You can see how high it was. It was a large synagogue. It was a place where people would gather. So my belief is that this is the place where Jairus was from, where Jesus healed it. And on the way to healing Jairus' daughter, what happens?
He meets the woman.
Heals the woman, right? Now here's what's amazing about that story. The idea in Judaism is to how you defile yourself by touching something unclean, right? If a religious high priest touched a dead body, he was impure, spiritually impure, right? He had to go into a mikvah and clean